Chris, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine. That was a fun letter, by the way. He pretty much just came equipped with a shovel and just dug himself a hole.
Some of the stuff just writes itself.
Yeah.
Or it looks like it does.
Anyway, I noticed some people were talking about biblical origins, and I wonder, have you read the book by Tim Callahan? He writes for Skeptic magazine, and it's called The Secret Origins of the Bible. And it's really a wonderful book. I mean, it's certainly not dumbed down, but it's very interesting and even entertaining. And he writes quite extensively about the origins, about the Mesopotamian mythology. And
well, neither of us have read it, but I saw a head nod, and I'd be willing to bet that Tracy's read it, because Tracy's done a lot of studying in the history.
And I haven't read that one, but I read a different one last year, so I want to go back and go through it again, but I read a different book of Callahan's called The Bible Against Itself.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, which is where he talks about a lot of the contradictions in the scripture and what have you. So it's interesting, this scholarship. Some of the other stuff that I've read is Who Wrote the Bible by, I think Finkelman is one of the...
Finkelman, Weinstein.
Yeah,
I've heard of that.
Where they discuss, and it's mainly a coverage of the Old Testament, but...
well, he covers the whole Bible, really. It's I think he does a very good job of it. He also has a lot of illustrations, and I think he also wrote an article in Skeptic about that. You remember that incident in one of the books about they're appearing to people something like a man on a wheel within a wheel and all these faces, and people say, that's a UFO. And he was saying, no, it's not. It was actually the throne of a god or a hero. And he can really describe things like that in detail. It just surprises me when you listen to a lot of Christians. They just think it all starts with the Jews and it didn't come from anything before that. And I think it'd be really helpful to recommend something to them and say, listen, these stories are very old. They come from other stories before that, like this, Enuma Elish and the Atrahasis and all of these other books that they've actually found, I suppose on tablets. So I mean, it's there, and there's a great deal of it, and this is really quite good by Tim Callahan, so I'd recommend it.
Yeah, it's been one I've been meaning to get to. I have this long list of sort of atheist books, books on biblical history. Biblical history is intriguing.
It is.
Just in terms of how that collection of books, actually, because that's what the Bible is, was assembled. All of the ecclesiastical debates and wrangling that went on to decide what the canon would be, what it wouldn't be, how there had to be several rough drafts, as it were, of the New Testament before they canonized what we have today. It's really, really interesting to go through all of that. And it's interesting to know just how many believers are not especially knowledgeable about that. I mean, certainly perhaps a lot of ministers and people who've gone to seminary, they'd have some of that knowledge, but I think what a lot of, especially if you get to fundamentalist churches, Pentecostal, can't talk today, Pentecostal churches, a lot of the really, really right-wing Christian churches, where they don't go out of their way to teach that to the congregation, to the Sunday schools, to what have you. They just do Bible study, but they don't really, I think they sort of intentionally keep the congregation ignorant of, and here's exactly how much debate went into the inclusion of this. This is the different translations that we have of this particular book. And that's fascinating to me. I mean, I didn't learn a whole lot about the history of the Bible when I was Christian, when I was younger, in my teens, what have you. I didn't really learn much of anything about that. I didn't learn anything about, they say, the Muratorian canon and how it got, it got there, and how it, I think the canon that we have was not finalized until something like the 4th century. I didn't learn a whole lot of that until I did my own study and my own reading after I was already an atheist, and so it's intriguing. So.
Yes, I mean. Not being a believer, I'm not put off by studying it. It's actually very interesting because what it teaches you about is really human psychology. It's about how people think and feel and how we came up with this in the first place. And so this is one really good source. And thanks a lot, and for doing everything you're doing there. And it's been a fun show. So I'll let you go now.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much for calling.
Okay, bye.
Bye. We've also had it pointed out by the studio that we should mention a book called Who Wrote the Bible by Richard Friedman, who was actually a professor at UCSD.
That's what I meant.
I was there.
Not Finkelman, Friedman.
And I missed the opportunity to take a humanities class from him, and I've been kicking myself for that ever since. But I've skimmed through that book, and it's very interesting because it actually traces back 4 separate groups of people who had like conflicting edits going into the Bible. And that's just the Old Testament. Then with the New Testament, you have the whole thing with the Council of Nicaea, and just everything that we regard today as biblical is actually the end result of a bunch of interfaith wars between people who had to go through all these different books that could have been included in the Bible, but then some of them were just thrown out.
It was kind of like a big wiki back then.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah, sort of like...
As your host, I'd like to point out the fact that if you've enjoyed today's show, you can go to... the show will be over in about...
We got 10 minutes, so that's plenty of time to...
a little less than 10 minutes.
Take another couple of calls.
You can visit... let's see, is it Threadgills? Yes, dinner at Threadgills, 5 p.m., 301 West Riverside Drive. So we'll be done with the show in about 10 minutes, and then 30 minutes after that... If you're atheist or atheist friendly and you haven't come to preach, proselytize, provoke, or punch, or Patrick, then you can come right along. All right, so we've got open lines right now.
Mm-hmm.
Chirp.
Something that I'm just not... Something's different, but I can't put my finger on it.
What makes you say that?
I don't know. Here, have the cow.
Okay.
Right.
Move.
All right, so 10 more minutes, 9 more minutes actually. We're at 477-2288. We'll rack up a couple more calls. Give us your theory of everything or what have you, and ask us some questions. Why are we atheists? What we believe, what we don't believe, etc., etc. Point out where we're wrong, and we'll be happy to chat with you again. And websites also for those folks who are tuning in just the last half hour or so of the show. Atheist-community.org is the group website. Atheistexperience.com. Is there a hyphen there for the show website?
Yeah, it's atheist-experience.com, and there's actually one extra thing to add about that. If you go to atheist-what?
Stop that!
Atheist-experience.com, if you go to /fans, there's Don's added some stuff about posting videos up, fans where they've ripped out sections and posted it on YouTube. More of a we're promoting viral type video stuff. Here, you need the cow to calm down.
I need the cow.
I don't know why you're so.
It's just something's different today, and I don't get it. I'm calm now. Thank you. Thanks, little guy.
So yeah, if you want to watch back issues of the show or back episodes of the show, if you go to atheist-experience.com. On the left-hand side, there'll be a link there that says archive. This is changing a little, so if it happens to change before the show is over with, or if it's changed, you'll have to follow some other instructions. I'm all about change. Change is good. Change is the theme. But if you click on the archive and scroll down, because there's information at the top about how to access it, you'll find a list of the past shows. That's creepy. You'll find a list of the past shows. And you can expand that list to go beyond what we're currently listing as hosted. So there'll be a link there called video that'll lead you to the Google video for any of the episodes that we have video for. And there's also links for MP3 downloads and podcast stuff.